everyone. Welcome back to Jeremy and Elaine's Top 21.
21.
This is the top 10 part of that top 21 board game list. You know, our favorite board games of 2021, not necessarily come out in 2021, but, you know, the games we like playing. Our favorites in general, overall, of this year. We love them. We love them, and we know you do too, you know, because they're awesome picks. You know, not to plug our own lists or anything, but they're good.
They are good, yes. Well, would you like to start us off?
You just made that awkward. How could you? I could start us off with number 10 on my list, which is Settlers of Catan.
Settlers of Catan.
Yes. I know I'm very basic with my Euro game here, but I do love the Catan. I think that, I mean, artistically for what it is, it's, you know, it's fine. I like that there are a lot of expansions. I think the thing that bothers me about this game is that there, you know, the red numbers where it's like, these are the ones you're most likely to roll. Yeah. And you'll get the supplies and it'll be glorious. You can expand your empire across the land. That is Catan. Okay, right? You know? I love how there's always one of those two numbers that you never roll. Every game, there's one of them. And that group of people don't get nice things. And then the game just stalls because you don't want to trade and help the other people.
That is the one thing about Catan is like it's very contingent on people trading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because usually you can't get everything on your own until like later in the game.
And the other players might beat you to it. If some of the players are cooperating and some of the players aren't cooperating, then
what?
Then the person who's not cooperating is probably going to lose.
They're also being very difficult.
Yeah.
And no one likes them.
No, Catan's a really good game. There's a lot of RNG to it, but there's a really cool social aspect to it, and I think that kind of social aspect to it with the trading and stuff really kind of counterbalances any negatives for it. And I don't want to talk too much about Catan currently because spoilers, we might be talking about it soon. And with that, I think I'm going to give my number 10. What do you think it is? My number 10 is, I'm not giving you time to guess, it is The Duke, Lord's Legacy.
Okay.
I feel like I always forget the Lord's Legacy part of it. But
yeah, we just call it the Duke.
Yeah, the Duke.
We know what we're talking about.
The Duke is like chess, but with randomness. And I think that's cool.
Okay.
Chess is an age-old game that has been around for a very long time. And
that's kind of like age-old, yes. Look at you with your synonyms.
Listen, like sometimes you just say the same thing in multiple ways to emphasize it. That's how English language works.
It's silly.
Well, I don't care.
Wow, okay.
It's an age-old adage of the English language.
I'm just going to sit over here.
So, the Duke has that random aspect where you're pulling pieces out of the bag, so you don't always know what you're going to be pulling out at any given moment, and that kind of can mess with your strategy. So you have to kind of think ahead on where you're going to place the pieces, not box yourself in.
Yes.
Like, one example of a game that we played where you had a piece that was completely stuck and physically could not move, but so
do not speak of that time. So it was a dark time in my kingdom.
Sometimes that happens. I just think it's a really cool game by design, and it's something that you can, you know, like I've played. I mean, obviously, if you're going to talk about like chess, I've replayed chess hundreds of times. So obviously, something that's kind of similar to it has a lot of replayability.
I would agree, yes.
You'd agree?
Lots of replayability, lots of randomness. Can't get very gifted at this game. I think the problem with the randomness, though, that really bothers me, is I feel like I get all the, like, really lousy pieces, like, really early on, and then you build up, like, this awesome army of, like, things that can manipulate pieces in all the ways, and the strike force, and I'm just like, I've got basically a pawn over here.
Well, that's because you need the heart of the tiles.
I don't have the heart of the tiles.
You do not have the heart of the tiles.
That's sad. I don't have heart of the cards either.
That's why your assassin gets stuck.
That's why I never win this game either. There are lots of things I never win.
Well, speaking of things you never win, let's go to my number 9. My number 9 is Small World.
Oh yes, that's another thing I never win.
Small World is a game that it was very early on in my board game collecting career. Yeah. I bought a used copy off of eBay.
It's a little fudged up.
Yeah, because at the time I was not willing to drop the kind of money that I drop now on board games. And back then I was settled on getting a game that was just functional, and I didn't care aesthetically that it literally had a hole in the bottom of the box and it was all crunched in on the side. But I had a lot of fun on there, and I think it's cool. It's like Risk with fantasy creatures and they all have different abilities.
Obnoxious ones.
Yeah, some of them are really
to your
obnoxious.
advantage.
And it's got a lot of replayability because you can mix the abilities. So you can have the attribute and the race, and they mix together, which can make different combinations.
This, I think, was probably the first, other than Castle Panic, this was probably the first game you ever showed me. It might actually be the first game.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was
before that or Castle Panic.
Before Castle Panic.
And I've hated this game ever since.
That's because you got trounced early on. Honestly, I don't think you would have gotten that. You would do that badly now, but you were not a board game person when I first introduced it to you.
No, it's not just that. It's just like I'm not a like risk type. You know how some people are like risk and other people are like eh. Yeah, like I'm in that second category where like risk doesn't appeal to me. It should, because world domination seems to fit with like my personality, right?
Yeah.
But it just I can't. No. And I don't like the art. Like it's not an art style or aesthetic that really appeals to me.
It's kind of like just off of being cutesy, so it's like uncanny cute. It's like an uncanny valley kind of cute. Uncanny valley is not a compliment. So
I mean,
it's like it's
saying
almost
that's cute at all. Is just,
it was going for cute. It
but
definitely
it's
was.
not.
Well,
it's not.
Agree to disagree.
Whatever.
What is your 9?
My number 9. You want to know what my number 9 is?
Yeah.
It's Coup Rebellion G54 because Coup is great, but I think I like this newer version of Coup a little more just because there's more combinations of cards to mix and match. I mean, I guess you could skew the game too. I know how it tells you to like pick 2 of the pinkish ones and like a blue one or whatever. Yeah. But you could skew the game and just do like all the blue ones, and I feel like that might be interesting.
I don't know how well it would play.
It might play really bad, and that might be hysterical. I don't know.
It's true. I mean, you could theoretically do it. I couldn't. I have too much attached to the original Coup.
I mean, I do like the classic Coup, and I think there are a lot of cards in this version of the game that are similar enough to the original, where it's like you could see they didn't really want to abandon like their original gold standard, but they updated it so there's more interesting stuff to mix and match.
I will admit mechanically there's a lot more you can do with the new one.
Yeah.
And I think it would, if I were to at some point say that Coup was on my list, it would only be because of my nostalgic attachment to it over the new one.
Why are you talking like you're a robot?
I don't know.
What's going on?
I'm talking with innuendo.
That's innuendo?
I don't know. Maybe I'm using that word wrong. Well, let's move on from that. What is your number 8?
My soul died a little bit. I need a moment. So my number 8, it's a great number 8. It's my favorite number, by the way. It's Unstable Unicorns.
Mine was bound down at 20. My Unstable Unicorns.
Yeah, and that's why I made fun of you. As we've discussed previously, I very much like Unstable Unicorns. I like, the art. I like that it's very family friendly, even though there's some like stabby animals and narwhals and things. I think it's for the most part a balanced game, but Jeremy could be a little obnoxious with this one. And he kills all my unicorns, so I have no friends. And that's really, really rude. You should stop that.
I do really like breaking the game. I think it's my favorite draw a card, play a card game.
Wow.
It is. Unless I have something coming up, it's in my top 21 when I haven't listed any other draw a card, play a card games.
That's true. I'm more of the card game person. You're more like, here's this board game that's going to take us 2 hours and we'll play it in the evening until you're tired and want to throw popcorn at my head.
And it'll take us an hour and a half to set it up and 3 hours to break it down.
That's you. Yeah, you're the obnoxious gamer.
Well, Rose Wars didn't make it onto my list. But I agree with your pick.
It's Black Rose Wars, by the way.
Black. What did I say? Rose Wars is close
yeah.
enough. Your number 8 is a good number 8, and I will not take it away from you, even though you're always trying to take away mine from me.
I'm not trying to take them away from you. I'm just saying that mine are naturally much better than yours.
Well,
there's a difference, sir.
I have a really good number 8.
Do you now?
Champions of Midgard.
That is a good number 8, but position, dear. The position.
Champions of Midgard. It is a worker placement game, and so it's like Stone Age, but you get to fight trolls. It's basically Stone Age monsters. Plus trolls. Yes, and like the sea monsters and such. Yeah. I like that. I like it has the extra added abilities, like the rune abilities. Those are kind of cool. What are they called? Destiny cards, I think they're called.
I think they're runes and they're Destiny cards.
I think, there might
it's
be
been a while since we played this one.
But yeah, there was like the Destiny cards where you get them in the beginning, and I think you can get more throughout the game.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that there's kind of different ways to play, where you can go and stay and fight you can stay and fight the trolls, and when you stay and fight the trolls, you won't get like the bad tokens, but the trolls are not going to be worth enough points and then you have the Draugrs. but those are not going to be worth enough points if somebody's going out really focusing on killing the sea creatures. Those give you the most points.
But then you can get fudged up at sea.
Yeah.
Because, the sea is evil,
I don't think it's as, like, prominent as some other punishment mechanics. Where, like, a lot of times you get the all clear kind of thing. But when it does screw you up, it's one of those things where you really have to be prepared because it'll make you discard, like, a warrior and a meat or something. Or it'll make you discard a meat, and then that's not enough. You don't have enough meat to have the warrior, because I think you need, like, a meat per 2 warriors.
Yeah, and there's no cannibalism in Viking culture, apparently.
Cannibalism. Yeah. So it can really mess you up. You have to make sure that you're going with enough people and enough pieces. Also, the expansions add a decent amount to it, which is cool. Like the extra pieces.
Yeah.
And the hero tokens, or I think they're called.
Yeah, or the horn things.
Yeah, the ones that, like, when your people die, you get tokens for them, and then you can spend the tokens.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
But the thing I really don't like is just, like, the dice roll luck. Like, I feel like, if you don't get good dice rolls, you just don't get anywhere, and that's annoying. And then also, I feel like definitely, and I think you'll agree with me on this, is that some of the starting folk, your main character, each character has a starting ability or an ability that gets to have throughout the game. And some of them are much better than others.
I don't think it's so unbalanced. There's worse examples of, like, unbalanced, like, mechanics like that with starting with characters.
Well, yeah, I feel like you can get around it if you're playing with, like, 2 people, but when you have everyone you could possibly play with, there's someone who's definitely just not as prepared to face the monsters and things as everyone else. I definitely,
well, I mean, yeah, but the thing that I do like is that there are ways to win the game outside of, like, just direct combat.
But that's the most fun way.
Yeah, it is the most fun way. But, like, if you play into your lord's strengths and do it well, you can kind of manipulate.
Yeah.
What are they not called? Lords? I guess whatever they're called. Vikings.
Jarl people.
Jarl.
Or are we trying to become Jarl? I think that's the premise.
Yeah,
we're trying to become Jarl, so want to be Jarls.
Jarl candidates. But yeah, it does have a problem with the dice of rolling blanks, which I should have talked about in my Small World thing. The dice of rolling blanks where you're trying to get reinforcements. But that's basically what these are. It's like you're going to be unsuccessful a good chunk of the time. You got to be prepared for that.
Especially if you have, I think it's the Berserkers have the most blanks.
I thought
the one with the axes.
I thought the Berserkers were the ones that get the most attack, but they have no defense.
Yeah, and I think they have more blanks than other people.
Maybe.
It's, again, been a long time since we played. This is on the top of our list, but
I do really like Champions of Midgard. So what's your 8?
Didn't I say Unstable Unicorns?
Yes. So what's your...
so
I'm doing 7.
You can't count.
I'm doing 7. 7 is Coup.
So we basically just talked about this.
Yeah, we talked about the new one.
But it's basically the same.
I do like taking my Duke money.
We know. Everyone's a Duke.
Yeah, everyone's a Duke for the first couple of rounds at least.
Yeah.
And that everybody gets their money all built up, and then when stuff starts happening, that's when all of a sudden, wow, there's no Dukes around the table anymore, are there?
No. There were those few times I won with double Contessas, too. Nobody likes a Contessa. No, but I double Contessed. I think I won twice like that.
It's all about the bluffing. It was like, some of my favorite memories on Coup are attached to Lakota early on when we would play. He would always tell the truth to, like, his deficit and detriment. That's what I meant to say. And then he would, when he started lying, everybody thought he was telling the truth all the time. So he would just, like, sneak by into, like, the finals all the time. Plus, it's also one of those games that you can literally play it with, like, 15 people.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I think it officially goes up to, like, 8.
Yeah, but, like, we have multiple sets of it. And you can just put them together and you can scale it up. So
scale it up, yo.
But you can play with the max number of people just as easily as you can play with, like, 3 people.
It scales very nicely.
Yeah, and it's better with more people.
It's better with more people.
Yeah. The when you play with, like, 3 people, which I think is the minimum.
Yeah, it's not so good.
It's not that much fun.
Not so good.
Yeah, so that's my number 7.
My number 7 is Shadows over Camelot.
Shadows over Camelot.
Because I got to be a fabulous knight.
A fabulous knight.
A famous and fabulous knight. That's one word now. So a fabulous knight who may or may not turn on you.
That's true.
And murder all the people.
But I always end up being the traitor, somehow.
Yeah, that seems to happen with every game that has a traitor mechanic. You're the traitor. We know it ahead of time. Lakota's like, it's totally my dad. And I'm like, yeah, it is. He's got that sneaky smile and shit.
I think I've been the traitor...
Every time we've played.
Every time we've played and there has been a traitor, I've been the traitor.
Yes.
So, which is
You're
weird.
Evil. And I'm usually the green one. I think it's Sir Gawain.
Gawain.
Guan.
Yeah, Gawain. But yeah, that's a fun game. It's relatively easy to teach, even though it looks intimidating.
Yeah, it really does.
But
Big board and everything.
It's not hard to teach.
It's like get rid of a card and move Excalibur closer to not being in the ice.
It's also one of those games where I feel like may have talked about this before. Last time we talked about Shadows over Camelot on the channel, but we've
talked about it on the channel.
Yeah, one of our countdown videos. I'm pretty sure we talked. Well, whatever, it doesn't matter. But it's one of those games where if you play your cards right as a trader, you're almost guaranteed to win.
Yeah, that's why they tell you can't be a little bugger until like halfway through the game when there's like six things or something.
But even if you like wait till the very end, there's always a moment where you can add an extra siege equipment or just flunk one of the things.
It's much easier to win as a trader.
Because you're teetering on the edge. It's like even when you're all allied with each other, you're always teetering on the edge.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to kind of just push it over as the trader.
Little imbalance with the trader.
Yeah, but it's fun. I enjoy it.
Because you win.
I do win.
Yeah.
I've won every time I've been trader, so.
Because you're a little bugger.
Yes.
Bugger.
So that was your number
bugger off,
7, right? So why don't you give your number 6?
Shot and Totten. The original, not this new number 2 nonsense. The original Shot and Tell It. Shot and Totten by Yellow. There we go.
I should have put Shot and Totten in.
But you didn't.
I did.
That's your first mistake.
I like Shot and Totten though.
It's good. I like it. It's probably the game we play the most.
Outside of Star Realms, I think Star Realms still holds the title. We played like back-to-back like 25 games of Star Realms before.
Yeah.
But Shot and Totten, besides Star Realms, definitely is the game we've played most.
And I think it's because
Okie dokie too.
Even though we like those longer, more thematic games, like sometimes I'm just tired and I don't want to sit there and play a game for 2 hours. So we'll just play this for 20 minutes. Then we sat there for a few hours just playing Shot and Totten. So it really amounts to the same thing.
Shot and Totten is one of those games. Is definitely like one of our default games.
Yeah.
Like if we don't want to play anything else, we bust out Shot and Totten. Unstable Unicorns is another one that's a good default game.
Yeah, but not like Shot and Totten.
No, not like Shot.
As much as I love the Unicorns.
Okie dokie is another good one.
The thing I feel like that bothers me about Shot and Totten is, it's okay art. It's not my favorite art, first of all. I like the chicken tile. I hate when you win the chicken tile. That's my tile.
I go after the chicken tile specifically.
Just to annoy me. But I feel like it's one of those games where you're just panicking. It's like, I think I could play this. And then like you wind up just like having to play a thing and then you regret it like 2 seconds later. Because then you get the other thing that you were aiming for. Or you'll be like, I'm planning to play this. And then you like miscount. And then you're like, oh, I can't play this like awesome run I have here. That happened the other day. I was like, oh, I have nothing to play. Where do I put this card? And then I got like 4 cards in a row in the purple suit. And I was like, cool, I can't even play these and crush him. This sucks.
You literally had like an amazing run and weren't able to put it down.
So that's troublesome.
The most painful part of it is the fact that you have to play a card first, then you draw a card. It's not draw a card, play a card. It's play a card, draw a card.
Which you forget a lot.
Yeah, but
you have issues with that.
You know why? Because it's not an instinctive thing. I have issues with it on Shot and Totten. I have issues with it on Okie Dokie. I always forget to draw a card afterwards.
That's why I tell you literally every turn, draw your darn card.
It's literally like our back and forth is like draw your card. Because like in my head, I've played a card, thus I should not be drawing a card. Because draw a card, play a card, not play a card, draw a card. But yeah, but that's the painful part is the fact that you have to play first and then draw a card. So you might draw that next card that you need, but you've already played the previous one. You have to make that decision first.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
So that was your number 6?
Yeah, it was a good number 6 too.
My number 6 is one that I think you will agree with.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Because my number 6 is Shot and Totten, so unless it's Shot and Totten, you're wrong. Like, that's how that works.
My number 6 is Takenoko.
That's a good one. But again, wrong position.
Takenoko is an awesome game. It's another one of our default games. Like, we want the next step up.
Yeah.
The next step up for default, like, this is going to take a little bit longer kind of games is Takenoko.
Sometimes Takenoko is pretty short.
Takenoko.
I don't know why I said that's Takenoko. It's surprisingly short.
Yeah, but I like how it's easy to teach, easy to play. The artwork's fun. The mechanics are fun. I think it's worthy of being in my top 10.
I would agree with that.
Right?
Yeah.
So I am doing my number 5 right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the number we should do.
So 5 we have already talked about on your list.
Have we?
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
It is Catan.
Settlers of
Catan.
There you go.
And that is a very fun game. All the positive things that I just said about it, say them again and reinforce them because it's higher on my list.
Also, I like getting the longest road.
You do go for the longest road quite often.
I do.
Going for the biggest army is one that I feel like is underrated, but
it's not as easy to get because you have to pay more for the development cards than just building a road, and B, you have to actually get the knight. And then there's also the fact that with the knight you have to move the robber, so everyone freaking hates you because you move the robber and usually draw first blood. Yeah,
the robber can get kind of, after a while though, with like sometimes a lot of times me and Lakota will have a gentleman's agreement that we will put the robber in a neutral space.
Sure.
And you are the one who's going back and forth and hitting everybody with it.
Yeah, because you don't trade and I need things.
Well, listen, I often don't get traded with.
That's because you win, and we don't like that. So there's that, too. The other thing, too, is I feel like the dice are weighted. I feel like we get 7s. Way more than we should get.
Well, sevens are one of the more common ones.
No, I know. But, 8s and 6s are common, too.
Yeah.
And then there's all those other numbers that, aren't 7. And, it's just like constantly getting 7s. And it's like, I guess I'll rob you again. And then there's like no cards. And it's like... And then, like, they always rob you right before you're going to do your epic turn of having, like, all the nice things getting developed at once.
When you just rolled the dice one too many times thinking that you would be able to get past it.
Yeah, you like to live dangerously until the danger happens, basically, and the robber comes to get you. The robber's gonna get you. The robber's gonna get you.
The other thing that I'll say... The other thing that I'm not going to say the Ralphie May joke, but it's very funny. He uses that same tune. But the other thing about Catan is it's a game that's been around for a long time, and it's a game that's been supported.
Yeah.
Like expansions and different versions, like the Star Trek Catan and stuff.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. So, your number 5
is Tyrants of the Underdark.
Tyrants of the Underdark.
We like Tyrants of the Underdark because it's basically like area control with deck building.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Definitely some better cards than others, I think, for every strategy type. And I feel like the conquest cards, like, you got to get everything out early or you lose. And then just certain strategies only work in certain situations, which is both good and bad and can be fun and not fun. And some cards definitely, in addition to just, like, the certain types of cards, just some things benefit you more than others. Because, like, after a while, you kill all the white people.
Yeah.
So that sounds really weird. You supplant all the white troops, guys, or you destroy all the white troops, and then those cards that help you do that aren't good anymore. It's like, I guess I got to get rid of these now, but if you don't have a card that can, promote things, that's bad.
Yeah, I mean, that'll help you spread out in the early game. I think those cards are a little bit better in 4-player games than, like, the 2-player games. We tend to play 2-player games a lot, so there's more white pieces on the board, and the game tends to last longer. I like that there are 4 distinct styles of play that is detailed in the cards themselves, like the ambition, malice, conquest, and the one with the spies. I can't remember what it's called.
Good job.
Yeah, the one with the spies. And the funny thing is
the one with the spies.
That's the one that I tend to go to, and I can't remember what it's called. But I think that's cool, and they do have their different play styles. Where if you, like you were saying with Conquest, like you get it out real fast, you kind of blitz the board to try and end it fast, get all your pieces out.
That's how I won last time, yeah.
Yeah, and I was going the spy route.
Which didn't work out.
No, it did not. I mean, but I said immediately after that game that if the game had lasted a little bit longer, I probably would have won.
We don't know.
Because it takes longer to get that strategy going. Again, that one's one that does better in the long game. Also, if you didn't get rid of my dragon... You got rid of the dragon that I was saving up for, and it
could have been my dragon. No one owned the dragon yet.
Guile, that's what it's called. That's the other style.
Oh yes,
Guile. It was a Guile dragon, and it would have been so good in my deck, and you just ate it out of the freaking the market.
Yeah, dragons are yummy. Don't know.
I would have won if I had that dragon. I guarantee you 100%.
But you didn't, so you lost.
Yes, I did. But
suck on that, sir.
But. Yes, it is honestly an amazing game. I saw it played a couple of times, and then I played it with my friends. My friends had it, and then I found it for a really good deal at a convention. I went to PAX Unplugged, and I got it there, and we've played it a lot.
You're plugging PAX Unplugged?
Yes, I'm plugging PAX Unplugged. Actually, it just happened this month. I didn't go.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Why didn't you go?
I mean, it's kind of far away.
Oh, okay. Well.
And it's expensive. I just started a new job.
Yeah,
all
right.
You know.
Yeah, all right. Moving along. Moving along.
Yeah. So that was your number 5.
That was my number 5.
So you want to do your number 4?
Sure. It's an awesome game. My
Is
number
it?
4. It's Champions of Midgard.
Wow.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
We have talked about this.
It's a great game.
So Champions of Midgard was higher on your list.
Yeah.
I didn't get the impression that it was going to be higher the way you were talking.
You know, I gotta confuse the people sometimes. Gotta be misleading. It makes my list entertaining. And as you know, I get to be a Viking, and I like that because I like fighting stuff.
Yes.
I definitely enjoy. You know, I'm weird. I like games that are peaceful and chill, and you're just like, you know, growing flowers and stuff. And then I also like games where I'm like, murder everyone, forget the farm. I have like no happy medium.
Midgard is a really good example of a worker placement game because there's a lot of other stuff besides the worker placement stuff to do.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I like that.
I also like how, like, I feel like in some worker placements, I feel like this is more the case with Lords of Waterdeep. There doesn't feel like there's enough space to go. Like, the board feels, like, crowded, and you're like, oh, I guess I'll go here because there's literally nowhere else to go. Like, I don't feel that way when we play Midgard. I don't know if that's because we've predominantly played this game, just the two of us, or if it's just that's the way it is. But I feel like with Stone Age and with Waterdeep, I'm just like, but why? Where can I go? There's nowhere to go. Where do I turn?
But the thing with Midgard, though, is the good spots get taken early.
Well, that's with any worker placement game. But I mean, like, I feel like I have options still. Like, there's another way I could go with this. Whereas with the other two, it's like, well, I really needed that resource, and now I have no way of getting that. And there's nowhere good for me to go. And this is a completely wasted turn because there's nowhere for me to go until you start building buildings. But even then, sometimes there's nowhere for me to go. But with Midgard, it's like, well, okay, like, I can't get this resource, but I could go maybe get this, like, card that might benefit me later, or maybe I'll go build a ship, because why not? I'm a Viking.
Or you can do the Destiny cards and all that stuff.
Yeah. Like, I just feel like you can adjust your gameplay, and it's not as punishing than when you're like, well, can't get my purple dude. Whoopsies! Like,
yeah, I mean, I could see those points. I disagree, but I can see those points.
Oh. That's hurtful. Friendship over.
So my number 4 is Star Realms, which is a game we've talked about several times already without actually talking about Star Realms.
Because it's fucking amazing.
Yes, it is. Star Realms is the game, like I said before, the game we've played more than any other game. Sheer number of times we've played.
Yeah, I mean, it was number 12 on my list. So we talked about it last episode, but you know.
Yes.
It's good. I like it.
But we also talked about it. We talked about it last episode. We also talked about it last episode when we were talking about Shards of Infinity. And other stuff. We brought it up when I talked about Dominion.
It comes up a lot.
It comes up
a lot.
It's
a good game.
Star Realms is a game that we played a lot. And I even have the limited edition thing. Oh, I got that from PAX Unplugged too.
Oh. Plugging PAX Unplugged again.
The limited edition card that is 2 different factions.
Yes. It's very nice.
Yeah.
I never play as those factions, but it's very nice.
But yeah, so that is the one that, like you were saying earlier, that it leans heavily into the factions.
Yeah.
That you can do like a mixture of the factions. I think the one that mixes the best out of all of them is the yellow, because the yellow does a lot of drawing cards.
Yeah.
And making your opponent discard cards. So
and you're saying yellow with anybody.
Yellow with anybody, I think, works really well.
All right.
Machine Cult with anybody also works really well because you're getting rid of cards.
You need the Machine Cult to get rid of. Like, you always have to take a little bit of the cult.
Yeah. I used to do...
Become a cultist.
Not a cultist. I used to do Machine Cult all the time.
I recall.
Every time I played, I would go Machine Cult. And that was a great strategy because I'd come down to the point where it's like, remember the times where I had like 10 cards in my deck?
Yeah,
or
I do.
Like 6 cards in my deck, and I would literally draw through my entire deck every turn because I just kept getting rid of cards.
They were dark times.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of interesting effects that the cards have. There's a lot of interesting bases. There's a lot of variety. Like with the amount of cards that we have at this point,
and the expansions that keep spewing out,
we can go through. We can play 8 or 9 games of Star Realms and not go through all of the cards that we have.
Yeah, depending on
how many cards,
how many Heelys I have.
Yeah, but
because I'm a troll.
That's cool.
I get lots of bases and Heelys, and you're just like, gosh darn it, and I'm like, well, you should have thought of that and bought a basey.
And that's
bought a basey.
But that's why we instated the rule that we recycle all the cards. Like we get rid of the cards out of the previous game, so we can go through the whole deck.
That was just your rule because you were getting annoyed at my bases. It was very rude. What did bases ever do to you?
Well, bases didn't do anything to me. That's why I never implement them.
Wow.
So that was our number 4s. Our number 3. My number 3 is one we just talked about not too long ago.
Oh, really?
Tyrants of the Underdark.
Yes, that is a good game.
Yes,
it's a good game.
That is a very good game. It's also set in. I've noticed a trend on my top 3, and we'll get into it when I get to my number 1. It is set in the Dungeons and Dragons universe, the 5th edition. It says it takes place with the Drow.
Okay, nerd.
The Drow elves.
Yes, the darkies.
The fighting.
The dark elves.
The fighting.
I feel like that wasn't
houses.
like politically correct, but I mean like physically they are dark-skinned elves. Like that is a thing.
They are dark elves.
With I think like white markings and white war paint, I want to say.
They tend to have white hair or like light colored hair.
Yeah, okay. All right.
But yeah, so Drow are cool. I never played Drow in Dungeons and Dragons.
I did that one time.
Yes, you did. When you crit the door.
I was like, forget you, door. You don't have a lock. What are you talking about?
Nat 20 on lock picking.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tyrants of the Underdark is really good for all the reasons that we stated before. Especially I like when you get the big cards out. I feel like the big cards, unlike in Star Realms, when you get the big cards in Tyrants, I feel like it's really cool. Like when you get those Fiend Lord cards or the big dragons.
Yeah.
It has. I feel like it's more impactful than when you get like the mothership or the ambassador's yacht or whatever in Star Realms.
I like how there's also an effect to having like control. Like you get the money at first, and then it's like Toto control. Let me get some VPs. Some VPs up in here.
Yes.
But yeah, I think the only thing that bothers me, I guess, is just that the pieces are crests. Like, I think I would have liked to see some, like, little drow elf pieces, but I guess that would have been more expensive.
Yeah. When it first came out, it was already kind of an expensive game.
Yeah.
It's dropped a lot in price, but when I was originally looking at it, it was, like, up in the 80s.
Ouchie.
And that's expensive. Now you can get it in the 40s.
Which is good.
Yeah, which is what I got it for at PAX Unplugged. But
Stop pugging. Yeah, you could pug at PAX Unplugged. You get pugs there now.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
I met some cool people at PAX Unplugged.
They wear little sweaters for board games.
Yeah, that's true.
And then they rough each other to the death to determine the best one.
What is your number 3?
You'll never know. It's Catapult Feud.
Catapult Feud.
Another yellow game. There are a lot of yellow games in my list here.
Another dexterity game.
Yeah, I really like this one because it's like flying goblins, but with a much better catapult. Like, it actually looks like a catapult. It's got a demented rubber band and everything. They tell you that's the only one you should use. It's a thing. And you have, like, these cards that can help, like, manipulate the catapult in the game. But you literally throw boulders at each other. You make your little castle on your little sheet. You got, like, your little knights. Like, the ones, they look like they're modeled after John Cleese as the Frenchman and Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Just, like, sticking out his, like, little mouth at you. His little mouth. His whole mouth is sticking out at you. It's his tongue. But, he's, like, doing this little raspberry thing. Not really, but he's leaning forward. They lean weird.
Yeah.
The pieces lean
weird.
Well,
they want to make them unstable, I think.
So, like, unstable unicorns, but with knights. So you put them on your little tower, and then you just, like, fire freaking things at each other.
It's definitely not a game that's friendly for every room situation.
No, it's not. But it's amazing, because I get to fire things at you. And you also lose this one a lot, because I'm better at anything that's remotely physical. For reasons. Yeah, I'm the jock in this situation, guys. That's how this works. It's the only thing I win consistently. And when you win once in a blue moon, my soul dies a little. A little bit.
It is a really fun game for all the reasons that you stated. And just that it's just a straight, like, good time kind of.
It's
game.
fast paced. It's so family friendly. Like you could play this with the small children as long as they don't eat, the parts.
They don't eat
as
the
long as they
boulders.
don't eat the parts, it's fine. But again, like you can't play this in a room with like a lot of stuff in it, like nooks and crannies. Because we played it in my room when we played it, and I have my bookshelves and my dresser, and for whatever reason we lost one of the boulders behind my like pencil holder. Like I don't even know how we lost, like of all the places we could have lost it, but like if there's a lot of stuff around, not a good place. It's probably best to play it on a floor in a more open room.
Yeah, like if you have a lot of furniture where stuff can go underneath and stuff, that's annoying.
Not a good place to play this game.
But it is a very good game.
I like flicking things at your head. Oh, and you could also accidentally flick things at your friend's heads, so that's fun. If they're bothering you, I didn't mean to. It was just my catapult. I was a little too enthusiastic. Sorry. Please don't fire things at your friends' heads. Like, don't do that. Be nice. But, love this game. That's why it's number 3. There are 2 things better than it, though. We'll find out what they are soon enough.
What's your number 2?
You did your number 3 already? I just, block out your list. You block out my list. We're so excited by our own games, and we don't even care what the other person's saying, apparently. But, yeah, so my number 2, this actually used to be my number 1, and now it's not. It got unhorsed.
It got usurped.
Yeah, its crown was taken. It was very sad.
The false king.
Wow, we're getting dark here and political. But yeah, my number 2 now is the lovely game Agricola, which we have not played in way too long.
Agricola.
I like this game for a lot of reasons. I mean, the art is very simple, but I do like the little animal meeples. That's probably the reason why I actually bought this game in the first place, because I'm a child. And I like little animals.
That was early on in your board game collecting.
Yeah, so this was probably in my first 20 games.
Yeah.
Very expensive back then. It's gone down a bit. There are a few expansions, I think, to play with more people. I don't own them, but I like how there are so many different strategies. It's like, do I go for the sheeps? How do I design my fields? Like, how do I really take advantage of...
Make more baby farmers.
What is with you and okay, moving on. But like there are a lot of different ways to play this game, and I like the strategy, and I like I said before, I have a strange thing where I like games where like you murder everybody, and I also like the chill, like I want to have a farm type games, and I can have farm, and they're little animal meeples, and they're freaking adorable.
They are,
and
adorable.
I love them. I love them, and I will always have the most sheep.
Yes,
that's the thing, because I like sheep. Apparently, sheep are good. You can make wool blankets, and I get cold, so it works for me.
I do enjoy this game. I like that it's got more replayability because you deal out like the cards randomly that you flip over later on. That become the spaces. There's different ways to play. There's different things to focus on, and I always appreciate that in games.
There's always stuff to do.
Yeah, there's always stuff to do,
but never enough time to do it in. The life of a farmer.
And it's a worker placement game.
So yeah, you like that.
I like,
and I get to farm, so it works out. Yeah.
It did not make my list, but
because you make bad decisions.
I respect its position. So, my number 2 is number 2 solely from all the fun that I've had playing it at conventions and with friends, and that is Ultimate Werewolf,
which I don't like.
Which she does not like and does not play with me. But Ultimate Werewolf is an amazing, fun game when you have the right group. This might be was this the first video that went up on the channel? Was Werewolf versus Ultimate? Was One Night versus Ultimate Werewolf? Or was it Zombie Munchkin? It was one or the other.
Yeah.
It might have been the first video that went up on the channel.
It's one of her very, very early videos, at the very least.
Was One Night Werewolf versus Ultimate Werewolf. And...
not a fan of either. Full disclosure.
But Ultimate Werewolf is definitely the one that I like more. When you get the expansions, which are like little card expansions that you can add to it to add new roles. The thing with Werewolf, Ultimate Werewolf especially, you don't do it off an app, you need a moderator, and a lot of it's based off the moderator. Because the moderator can make it a lot of fun. We have one person... or they can wreck it. Yeah, we have one person that we play with that does a really good job at being the moderator. Lakota really likes being the moderator too. And
it's amusing. Yeah, he forgets things.
He does forget, but he has a good time, and he
has a good heart. He tries.
He adds life to it with personality. But adding personality is the best thing the moderator can do. At Kineticon, back-to-back years, we spent hours playing Ultimate Werewolf, just like holding the box up in the game room and just having people come over and sit at the table and getting in on the next round. It's a quick game. You can cycle people in and out. Like, it's not something where you have to sit down and play for hours. You literally just play through a round in 15 minutes, and they can add new people, lose people. It's a lot of fun. Love it.
Not fun.
You just don't like social deduction games.
For the most part, I really don't. Yeah.
But
it's not my
you're not good at deducing socialis.
I'm just gonna glare at you.
So you did your number 2, right? And so now I'm doing number 1.
Yeah, you're doing number 1.
Number 1, my number 1. The biggest discrepancy in this countdown between positions on games that we both have is this one that I'm about to name right now. Her last game,
number 21,
was the same as my number 1, and that is Lords of Waterdeep.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. I knew this was coming. I know you.
Lords of Waterdeep is my favorite game. It's been consistently my favorite game since I got it.
Yeah.
It also is my favorite expansion for any game, is Scoundrels of Skullport. It's just, I think it's the perfect worker placement game. Because it just focuses on the worker placement. But
I like to fight stuff.
But that's a different thing. That's dice rolling, that's RNG, that's combat, that's not worker placement.
It makes worker placement more fun.
This is a pure worker placement game. It's entirely based on what you get from the places that you place your agents. Not
enough room to do things. The lords get boring, especially if you're not playing with the expansion. Even with the expansion, they're kind of boring. But the art isn't cute. And cubes. Too many cubes. Too many cubes.
Gibbs. You have to take it for what it is. It has the expansion.
And it's not as good as Champions of Midgard. I took it for what it is. Champions is better. You get to fight stuff.
Yeah. Lords of Waterdeep is better.
No, it's not.
It's just better. It just is.
It's just not. Let us know down below in the comments which one you think is better.
There is different ways you can play it too. Remember when I beat you entirely off of the cards?
Yeah, that's a lot of times.
Yeah, but I literally just focused on getting the intrigue cards. Yes, the intrigue cards over and over again, and literally just got all my stuff off of those cards. There's different ways you can win. There's different.
Same with Champions of Midgard. Do you fight more stuff, or do you go all like Destiny?
Yeah, I guess so, but like I don't know. I'd like Lords of Waterdeep. I don't think it'll ever be unseated for me.
We'll see. We have a lot of games to play, man. A lot of games to play.
Yeah.
There's at least 50 games sitting on the shelves, waiting to be played, just crying out in pain and agony. Why won't you play me? Because we're busy playing these games. That's why. We're busy playing our top 21s.
But don't you...
Except for my top 21s, because you never play my top 21s.
But don't you know that board games are just meant to be purchased and never played? It's about dreams, Elaine.
My soul just died a little bit. A little bit of dead soul right now.
What is your number 1?
You don't know? It's a Panda-approved Panda game.
Yes.
Takenoko.
Best
game ever!
Not very much difference in between our lists on that.
I'm still very upset that I gave this game to you. That was my first mistake. Should have been my game.
Well, you could get your own copy.
It's not the same. So there is an expansion where you get to have little panda babies. That should appeal to you because you're obsessed with babies for some reason. Like, I don't know.
Expand your workforce.
I mean, as much as I love this game, I don't win it very often. And I think this game is a balance of determining what your partner's strategy is or your opponent's strategy is. Like, are they going for the easier to get, like, tile placement cards? Or are they going all for the food? Or, like, my strategy is, like, I always want the big points, so I usually go for... the ones where it's like, hey, grow your garden this way. And because we've played this game so much, Jeremy knows what I'm doing and screws everything up for me because he's a bugger.
That is the one thing I'll say. If you've played this game a lot and you have somebody who's trying to go for the farmer points, you can know what they're going for because you know a lot of the cards.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, I can see what you're doing. Okay, I'm just going to put this tile here because I know you're going for the one with no tile on it. Or you're going for the 3 that have no tile on it, and then that really screws you.
And there's not enough variety. Like, I think within the first 3 games, we basically knew everything that was going to come out. Yeah. And it was just like, why?
Yeah. But, I mean, that aside, it's a game that we still replay a lot.
And I like the cute little pieces.
Yeah.
They're cute. Although, also, the other thing I have to say is that the pieces don't fit well. Like, the bamboo is a problem. It's a hazard.
Yeah, I do wish the bamboo was a little bit like stabler when you sit it on the space. But I wish we had gotten the Kickstarter version with the giant panda.
You always say that.
I
You
know.
want the giant panda that's actually a giant panda.
I do want the giant panda.
Because it's
Maybe we can find it on like eBay or something. Or we can just find the Kickstarter version.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I mean, we have the game. I'm happy. Like,
Yes.
I've played my favorite game many a time with you. I'm
Yes.
like, we're playing the panda one.
We were just played it the other day and you won.
Yeah, I know. And you know why I won? Because I gave up on my usual strategy.
That's
the
true.
only time I win is when I abandoned my strategy.
Yeah, you went for the eating panda. The bamboo
eating and the
one.
laying, yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's our top 21 done.
yeah. 21's top 21. Our favorite board games of the year, but not necessarily developed or created in this year, just our favorite things to play because we like games.
Yes.
I said that very fast just for the people.
Tell us down below in the comments what your top 10 games are.
Because you told us what your 21 through 11 were
Yes,
last time.
in the last video.
Let us know which list was better. Obviously, it's mine. But, you know, just let us know. Let Jeremy know my list is superior in every way. I'm teasing. Really not, though. Really not, though.
Definitely make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button.
And ring the bell so you'll know what's up.
And we will catch you in the next one.
Bye, guys.
Hey! Hey! Are you listening? Hey, this is Billy West. I knew you'd recognize my voice, but sometimes you can't, because you're watching King's Entertainment Reviews. Now, I would love it, being the professor, if you'd comment, like, and subscribe. You hear that? He knows what he's talking about, because he's a smart old bastard. Yeah. All right, now, get with it.